You don't need to have a team of 10 people to start working a process.
That's right.
The stuff that we just talked about, you can do it if you're a solo operation.
Yeah.
If you start looking at your business that way, you're gonna make money while you're building the business. Like
Yep.
it goes both ways. So.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Science of Flipping podcast. And as you see, I am still here talking to some of the best experts in the industry, trying to give back to you guys. And if you are not watching this on YouTube, go to YouTube, because I got my man Cortez here, Rafael Cortez. What is up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing amazing, man. Living the dream.
Man, I appreciate you being on.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks
right
for
on.
having me.
So listen, we are talking all things real estate, and what you are known as an expert in organization, processes, systems. So let's kind of dive into that. I know you have a step-by-step process that you talk specific to wholesalers through.
Yeah.
And let's jump into it.
Yeah. So first, well, thanks for having me.
Of course.
That's number one. But yeah, I think one of the things that happens, especially in wholesaling, right? People, and we see it with students all the time, where people get caught up in the hustle stage. You know, for a long time without actually building that automation that's going to allow you to step away from the business. But at the end of the day, like, what are we looking for, right?
Yeah.
Are we looking for another just, higher paying job or a degree of freedom? And if you step away from your business and it falls to the ground, it's not really a business. So that's kind of where this whole thing, comes in. But I mean, I found it through trial and error, and then trainings and whatever. Like this is the process that works very well. I use it in my company all the time, and it's actually like the blueprint that we use to operate. So 6 stages. The first one is going to be sourcing. It's you got to find the deal somewhere, right? We call it sourcing because it changes. It's not necessarily just PPC marketing. It's SMS. It's when you understand things as a stage, it's easier to pivot.
That's right.
And you know what where the actions need to be, put into, right? So the first one is going to be sourcing. This is where cold calling happens. We have pre-qualifying and that sort of thing.
Right.
The second one is converting. We convert leads to prospects. And that's where you have a little bit of a deeper conversation with the leads to see if there's anything there before spending too much time. So, for example, if your acquisitions, right, you more than likely, you don't want to talk to 1,000 people to figure out, that two are interested. It's not even a deal. So the second stage is it's converting. The third one is going to be acquisitions, where you negotiate the deal analysis, and that sort of thing. And I'll break down the importance of them all here in a sec. But it goes on. You have one job in acquisitions. That's get the signature. Sean taught me that. You have one job, one role.
That's right.
All right, cool. Go to town on that. And then dispo, right? How do you market the deal? How do you send it out? How do you build your buyers list? And these four are pretty standard. Most wholesalers stop there.
Yeah.
And I think the last two are really the ones that give you that edge in building that business and stepping out of that hustle mentality. Hustle is a season, not a business strategy.
Yeah.
So the fifth one is going to be measuring. So we track KPIs. There's certain things that you key performance indicators, right? And there's certain things in your business that are going to allow you to understand how your business is doing. The importance of tracking all this and your actions and all that stuff is to understand where you're at in the deal. More importantly, when you hire somebody, when you bring somebody to help you out in the business, where are you going to plug them into?
Yep.
It's not uncommon, right, to see I hired somebody, she's my lead manager, but she's also doing dispo, transaction coordination and all that stuff. So it kind of breaks the chain of flow as to how it's supposed to go. And then the last one is improvement. So we measure and improve on the fifth and sixth, and these are just awareness sessions. Okay, like what happened to the deals that we closed last week? Did we leave money on the table? Can we improve any of the stuff that we're doing? So it's always a forward-thinking mentality as you're going through it. And I'm telling you, man, like these last two stages really come in.
Measure and improve, right? Those are the last two.
Yeah, they come in and they just become the glue for the business.
And that's once you start getting some traction, because really the first one, right, which is sourcing, that literally is everything.
Yeah.
If you don't have any source of deal flow, then there's no measuring and improving any of it.
Yeah,
right? Whether
that's a fuel to the car.
that's everything.
Yeah.
And so I think people need to, in our space, as we educate and you have a great following in what you do, people want to get to scale way too quickly.
Oh yeah.
I've seen it too often, right? They want to measure and they want to improve, but they don't have any deals.
Right.
Or the other thing I've seen in the last almost 10 years now is people have plenty of deals. They have sourced great.
Yeah.
They don't know how to convert.
Yeah.
They don't have that number 2 about how to convert the deal.
Yeah.
And that is, if you can't do those 1 or 2s, then everything else kind of like, well, it's irrelevant, right? Because you don't know how to actually do what the business does, which is create opportunity. What you said, which you just say it a little different than I say it, but it's the same thing, right? Is your exit strategy. To convert more deals, think outside the box. If it is always a cash offer, you're always the one-trick pony, then you might not get as many deals. You may not convert as well because you're just 70% of ARV minus rehab, minus wholesale fee.
Yeah, you have to be dynamic, man. It's the business has evolved so much in the last 2 weeks.
That's right. 2 weeks, literally, right?
Yeah, it's insane. Just the offer thresholds, understanding the market, and I mean that goes a long way, right? But also having that grip on the ability to pivot from one offer to the next and just monetizing more leads. It's a whole science behind it, right? But at the end of the day, it really comes down to that, and it really comes down to understanding, okay, what can I come in and do for the seller? How can I convert more stuff and actually close it? Because somebody else is going to come in and do it. Right?
Yeah. That's going to be huge. So the process of building out this business to treat it like a business, like you said, hustler is a season.
Yeah,
it's not a business model.
Yeah,
and you said it perfectly. Is because you have to have the hustler to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tool.
100%.
It's a must-have tool.
And listen, even in growth and its scale, sometimes you'll have to jump back into hustler mode because you're at a place that you've never been before. Yeah. So if you've never been to that point before, you have to go back into hustle because you're at a different level, right? You go from no deals to making $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
Well, there's different challenges making $300,000 a year than just getting started.
Yeah, it's you have in any business, right? In any business, you're gonna have stages, and I'm not talking about the 6 that we just went through, but you're gonna have levels of business. Level 1 business, where you have a certain degree of revenue coming in, certain amount of employees. Mm-hmm. Whenever you jump into a next level of the business, meaning that you're generating more, you're creating more deals. For example, you jump from 3 deals to 8 deals or 10 deals a month. Yep. Your processes shift. The ROI in certain things, the return on investment that you're having, for example, in marketing, is going to shift a little bit.
That's right.
And there's always a period of turbulence, in between
100%
leaps. It's easy to get lost, when you're there. Just be aware if you're growing, if you're scaling the company, and you're actually doing more deals. Understand that it's not going to be as smooth as when you were running 3 deals solid.
That's right.
Like clockwork.
100%.
Yeah. That every shift, every level, just calls for that period of turbulence, and that's where kind of things settle for a little bit. Yeah.
If you have to, give some advice, which is what this podcast is about, but what would you, offer up the wholesaler who's just struggling right now? They just can't figure out, they've been trying. What piece of advice would you give that wholesaler?
At the beginning, go back to basics. Don't get too complicated with all the different strategies of marketing. It's easy to get caught up in the noise. That's one thing. Go to one strategy that you feel. I always recommend cold calling.
Sure.
It does a lot of things. If you're a new wholesaler and you start cold calling, you're going to start to understand the conversations that you need to have when you negotiate. So it builds that tenacity. You're going to be okay with rejection, and then you're going to understand the lingo. If you generate leads and go straight to closing and negotiating, but you have never had a conversation, you're not ready for that.
Right.
So it builds you up. Anyways, that's what I would put out there. You're going to do 2 things: either get the leads through paid means, or elbow grease. One of the 2.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do you have
give it enough time to work?
One of the things I've found is people don't, or they underestimate the cost of skip tracing.
Yeah.
And you love batch, I love batch. There are guys. It is the best skip tracing.
1,000%.
If someone's just getting started and they may not have the budget to skip trace the volume that's needed for cold calling, how do you recommend to solve for that?
One thing that you can do, guys, is go to your title company. Go to your title company, ask them for lists. They will put you on a drip campaign. A lot of title companies do this. I do this specifically for like foreclosure campaigns and whatnot. But now they will give you a list, and a lot of times they have the phone numbers in there, so you can request a list from them. If you don't, do a targeted skip trace, meaning that you're going to pull a foreclosure list, steal from a title company. You can get that from multiple places. Talk to the reps; they'll give it to you for free, and have look up the properties that have equity on those, and then skip trace that lower volume. One thing that you can skip trace those, but lists like that, or the smaller elbow grease type of lead generation that I'm talking about, door to door. I mean, even going out to the door and then putting a post-it on it with your phone number. Think about it as almost like guerrilla marketing approach.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and yeah, as far as cold calling, you can get lists and with numbers from title companies. They will have those. I mean, we have those on the drip campaign,
100%,
and they're free, right? Again, you get what you paid for. So the quality of the data is not going to be amazing. And they're gonna have outdated phones and that sort of thing, but you still have you have something to work with.
Something's better than nothing, right? So
yeah,
I believe in one thing, and you guys have all heard CIA, right? I call it CIA, not the government agency, but commitment, intention, and action.
Yeah,
and action above all else, even if it's imperfect, even if the phone numbers aren't great.
Yeah,
take the action necessary to actually make your goals come alive, right?
Yeah, when you're in action, it's easier to get motivated.
Yep.
It's easier to get excited. How many times have you seen it, man? That I'm not getting results. I don't have, I'm not getting anywhere with this thing. And
right.
then they have one conversation with the seller that gives them the possibility of a close, the possibility of a deal. And now they're all fired up. They're fired up.
It's amazing. And then that momentum leads into an actual deal, right?
Exactly.
And that's it. And so, guys, Raf is process oriented. I will promise you this, as someone that is more brute force, he is the process behind brute force. There's a necessity for both, right? Because brute force can only get you so far before you're just scatterbrained.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot more people who are probably more brute force than process oriented. You need both, right? And so you need to build an actual business. So why not start by the right way, by trying to build a business versus just brute force, hustle, no organization, no process. Take what he's saying seriously, right? Understand that there should be a process behind every action you're doing, and that's what's really going to help you achieve results.
Yeah, and before we sign off, it's important to understand that you don't need to have a team of 10 people to start working a process.
That's right.
The stuff that we just talked about, you can do it if you're a solo operation.
Yeah.
If you start looking at your business that way, you're gonna make money while you're building the business. Like it goes both ways. So.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Tell people where to find you, dude.
Social media, Rafael Cortez, CEO. My YouTube channel is there, so
Love
I'm pretty active there.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
IG, all that stuff.
Love
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man. It's
Pleasure.
been great. Guys, look him up. Follow him. Very process oriented, very CEO mindset type of stuff. You absolutely need that. And again, appreciate you being on, man.
Thank you, man.
Right on. See you guys on the next podcast episode. Peace.